Welcome home to the Crash the Pond podcast. It is a Monday, December 19th edition of the show. And Jake, we've got some winning Ducks hockey games, plural, to talk about this week. Get excited.
Wait, you buried the lead, though.
Did I?
You buried the lead here.
That seems impossible.
The Ducks made an earth-shattering trade today.
Oh, no.
The Ducks.
Oh, no.
Pat Verbeek.
Not standing pat.
Not standing pat. He had something cooking today before the roster freeze at midnight and picked up, for his third tour of duty in the Anaheim Ducks franchise, Michael Del Zotto for Danny O'Regan.
Why are we giving this airtime?
It does not deserve airtime. I'm simply doing this because
so
I know it bugs you.
Oh my goodness.
It's inconsequential, except when Michael Del Zotto is playing for the Ducks after they trade away guys.
Yeah, no, that I saw that and I didn't even tweet about it. It's just an AHL move. Anyway,
I had to really think about how many stints Del Zotto had with the Ducks, and I think this is the third.
I will not give it any thought. I'm sorry. With all due respect to Michael Del Zotto and his family, but I don't care.
Would he be better than Nathan Beaulieu?
Ooh, maybe. But how about just playing six defensemen when you can?
That's true.
Is that an option? Is that allowed?
I mean,
anyway, I'm not even going to look up Michael Del Zotto. I almost did it. I almost looked up his stats. I'm not doing it. I fell for the trap.
I think he's been in the AHL.
It's hard not to be better than Nathan Beaulieu. I'll say that. Although, according to the Ducks social media account, they did the tiny mic thing after practice, and apparently Nathan Beaulieu is one of the better soccer players in the team. The prompt was, "Who's the best soccer player in the team?" Him and Lundestrom were popular picks. So
Lundestrom is, I don't know if European plays any factor in
so
that.
Silverberg
sure.
Got some votes as well.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe it's the European connection.
But Beaulieu's not European.
He's not. He's certainly not.
So maybe that goes out the window there.
So anyway, also happy second night
Yes.
of Hanukkah. Wow, I took a huge risk there.
Why?
The big reward.
How is that a risk? Legitimately,
I wasn't sure if it was second, third, first.
I'm pulling the curtain back for everyone. 10 minutes ago, as Felix and I were talking before we went live, said, "Yeah, happy second night of Hanukkah" to Felix.
Oh, did you say second? I didn't even register. Okay.
I said second.
Well, I guess maybe my subconscious picked it up. Anyway,
there you go.
this is a great start. So we're going to talk here about the fact that the Ducks picked up their second regulation win of the season against Montreal last week, and then their third regulation win of the season against Edmonton. So 2 back-to-back wins, 2 wins in regulation. Jake, let me ask you this. Are you looking into playoff ticket prices yet?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know why I'm looking at the playoff ticket prices. It's not these 2 wins. It's the fact that they got Michael Del Zotto back.
Why? Can we establish a moratorium on Michael Del Zotto references for the next, I don't know, podcast? Okay.
Oh,
so
man.
we should talk about these wins though, because there hasn't been a lot of winning to talk about this season. There hasn't been a lot of winning to talk about in regulation. So it warrants some discussion. It warrants looking at how they did it, why they did it, who the key players were. And I think that should give us a show.
Especially because of the fact that they're kind of very 2 polar opposite type of games in terms of how they played out. And I think they both have not implications long term, but they both kind of show you the different ways that you can win a game. And one is potentially a very sustainable way for this team, and one's not at all. And so I think it's important to kind of look at them and say, essentially take almost like a lessons learned from them as a fan in terms of looking, or instead of in terms of understanding what to look for moving forward.
Yeah, and I think that we should start with the Montreal game, because that was the first game of this. Is it a winning streak when you win back-to-back games, or is it only a streak if you're at 3?
You know, with the Ducks season so far,
let's call it a streak.
We're calling this a streak.
The Ducks are going streaking. So the Ducks win 5-2 against the Canadiens, a game that I was pumped to watch. And my Montreal Canadiens did not deliver, shockingly. But there was a whole lot of good to take away from this game, and this was a game where the Ducks did control at 5-on-5. But I want to start here. First goal of the game, maybe the prettiest goal I've seen the Ducks score, I don't know, at least this season. You could even maybe say all of last season. A very just kind of picture-perfect power play goal. The kind of setup that we've seen this team really go to as of late, and what's really spearheaded this turnaround with the man advantage. You have Mason McTavish on that right flank, on his off wing, one-timer threat. You have Trevor Zegras on the left flank, who's on his strong side, and then Troy Terry, who's kind of just roaming goal line, sometimes bumper, and Fowler at the top, and Henrique in that bumper slot. So Mason McTavish, one time, he basically did the Kucherov pass to Trevor Zegras, a one-time slap pass, shot pass, whatever you want to call it, perfectly across the Royal Road, as they call it, across the slot, all the way over to Trevor Zegras, who then collects it, gathers the puck, scans the ice, and puts it perfectly on Troy Terry's tape. And all Troy Terry has to do is basically get his stick on it, and it goes into the net. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen as perfect of a goal from this Ducks power play in a long time. And I think that what's exciting about this power play is not only are you getting moments like these, but the numbers show that it is in fact good, and it feels sustainable. Like, these are your three best players that are getting it done, and then these are guys who are presumably going to be around for years to come.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what's nice to see is that, at least, even though we obviously have all of our critiques about the coaching staff, there's plenty more to come in the future on this podcast even. But I think they deserve credit for the changes they made, because there are distinct changes with how this power play was running previously to now, how it is now. The fact that you have John Klingberg no longer on that first unit, you have Cam Fowler there, and to be quite honest, Cam Fowler really fits what they're trying to do more. He's not trying to shoot the puck always. He's moving the puck, distributing a bit more than what John Klingberg is a bit more known to do. And you have the clear change in putting Mason McTavish on the right flank and putting Trevor Zegras on his strong side flank, moving Troy Terry below the goal line to where he's able to really take advantage of the defenders and really make smart moves by, if he draws guys in, that leaves someone open in the slot, that leaves Trevor Zegras open, maybe Mason McTavish. There's a lot of lanes that go open. And I think the other thing that is really fascinating about it is, I don't know if I've necessarily seen this specific setup at all, where there's not really a full bumper and there's not really a full net front. It's kind of a moving target with where Adam Henrique is in that moment. And Troy Terry is just basically set up below the goal line. I don't know if I've ever seen a power play that does that as their strategy. And I think that type of unpredictability is something that is very good for this power play. And here's the thing, if they're able to key in on it, there's a lot of options for movement off of that. And that was something you kind of look back to that podcast you and I did, where we kind of broke down the power play in depth and said, and you came up with the great idea of moving Trevor Zegras off his weak side to put him on his strong side, where he's able to move the puck, make some more good looks. And I mentioned even putting him below the goal line, because he's probably one of the most dangerous person.
Dangerous cross goals.
Yeah, like dangerous persons below the goal line. It's just something that these changes that we were kind of talking about, it's really nice to kind of see them come into action and really find success. And it's just something that's really nice to see. It's the fact that they've become this dangerous unit, the fact that they have the ability to move the puck in very different ways and hurt you in very different ways. And so overall, this is probably one of the biggest pluses from this coaching staff this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point about, Henrique and Terry kind of being a little unpredictable in the middle, I don't know, maybe that was just a product of that play, but you might be onto something there, because even in the game against Edmonton, they weren't perfectly sticking. Like, they weren't rigid about the sides that McTavish and Zegras are on. Like, at one point, Zegras was back on the right side, McTavish was on the left side, and even
that's actually what set up one of the goals with McTavish's passes to Fowler.
Yeah, exactly. He made a nice little kind of shot fake and then the drop pass to Fowler. And I think that just that kind of level of variability is great too, because in the modern NHL, with scouting and video analysis, like teams are going to catch on to you quickly. And as good as the Ducks have been, like they don't have the kind of elite talent quite yet where a team, despite knowing exactly what they're going to do, just can't stop it. And so it happened enough times during that game where it wasn't just like a one-off situation. They did it a couple times where I think that they are trying to implement a level of unpredictability to their game. And I mean, this is going to go to a larger point that we're going to get to here. But I really just think that what kind of makes all of this work is the fact that all of a sudden Mason McTavish is looking like a legitimate top 6 NHL center to me. I feel like that's like the biggest takeaway maybe of all of this.
So you're telling me that playing Mason McTavish in his natural position, playing him and giving him more ice time in an elevated role, and he's starting to show that he can play in that spot? Shocked.
Yeah.
Absolutely shocked. By the way,
I do want to... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm going to look up... There's a quote from Eric Stevens' article from him that I think I really want to read. That it's just... It really kind of blows my mind a little bit, that the amount of overthinking that happens at times with guys that are on the wing. Or centers putting them on the wing.
I do want to point out, though, that to your point about John Klingberg and his presence on the power play... It's a little unfortunate that these successes aren't coming with him on the power play. I do think that because Fowler is just kind of a distributor and he's not really absolutely looking to shoot, that it allows those forwards to get to work and really kind of dominate the puck possession. I think that the most dangerous power plays, I feel like, tend to run through the forwards, through the flanks. But I think if you're the Ducks, though, you do want to find a way to incorporate John Klingberg into that top unit. I just... As great as Cam Fowler is and as well as he's worked in that role, I think ultimately, and now this is completely splitting hairs. Like, this is not a critique at all about the actual power play. It's just saying that John Klingberg looks a lot better as of late. He's scored 3 goals in his last 2 games. And, hey, if you have designs of trading him at the trade deadline, kind of makes sense to get him on that top unit. And with the understanding, you can have this conversation with him that, hey, don't look to force shots. You can get your offense with these guys out there, but just don't do it and kind of break up that flow and that chemistry that they've been establishing. I feel like there's the way that they can get there.
All right, here is the quote. This is from the Eric Stevens article today. It said, it's from Mason McTavish, or a quote from McTavish saying, "My goal obviously is to play center in this league. Whether it was now or in the future, that's kind of what I always wanted to do. That's my natural position. I don't mind playing wing too, but obviously I feel like I'm more comfortable down the middle. I just can kind of control the game a little bit more down there. Just touch the puck and kind of support it around all 3 zones. I definitely like to play center more." And like you hear that quote though, right? And we talked about it so much at the beginning of the season that you watched him in his own zone and just he looked uncomfortable as a winger and didn't necessarily know where he should be as a winger. And would float low, kind of leaving the point high, and that kind of led to some times where the Ducks would get hemmed in their own zone because he would not be in the right position, lead to extended zone time, yada yada yada. And so it's just you hear that quote, and it's just like, how is a coach that is supposed to be a development type coach, right? That is touting the development side of things now, also, right? Like that's what Pat Verbeek's saying, that's what Dallas Eakins is saying, and I'm just very confused when I hear that quote, that why does that not make it to a coaching staff? And now granted, he's now there and he should stay there just like Trevor Zegras. And so this is a little bit of crying over spilled milk, and especially because of the fact that you and I both agree that Dallas Eakins is probably not going to be here next season. So this doesn't really matter, but it's just more so the overall kind of, I think this is an overall hockey opinion, right? That Dallas Eakins has of having guys come in and they should play the wing because less responsibility, everything like that. And I don't think there's enough said about the fact that let guys play their natural position. They've made it to this league for a certain reason because they play that position. It's actually funny. I don't know if you read the full article or not, but Max Jones had an interesting quote actually that really stuck out to me about Mason McTavish. And he kind of said development-wise, just let him do his thing. We've been playing hockey our whole lives. Minor fixes here and there, yeah. But I just don't think you need to change a hockey player. There's no reason to change someone. He was drafted the way he was and the way he plays. There's no reason to change him, no reason to tell him he needs to play differently.
Yeah. I mean, Max Jones is is speaking for everyone here where, yeah, just let guys play their natural positions, let them play to their strengths. And there's ways to work around if you think it's going to be a tough transition. I mean, look at what the Ducks are doing with Trevor Zegras still. Mm-hmm. Trevor Zegras has not taken the majority of the faceoffs on his own line, a line in which he is the center on, right? Yeah. It just kind of goes to show that there's ways to mitigate these kind of weaknesses. I mean, I don't think that it makes a lot of sense to have Trevor Zegras not taking the majority of the faceoffs. Like if the idea is to develop him long term, he should probably be getting the lion's share of them. That being said, though, I don't think faceoffs matter anyway, so I'm not going to make a big stink over that.
And I think at the end of the day, faceoffs are a little bit overrated from the perspective of deciding who's a center and who's not. Sure.
Well, that's the thing.
I think it's an easy way.
It's just more. It just more shows the coach's opinion about what he can do.
Well, and it's an easy way to determine who's a center typically on the line with who takes the faceoff. But at the end of the day, it's who's down low, who has the puck more coming up the ice, who's more in the center ice as they're leading the rushes, things like that. That's more so where Trevor Zegras excels. And so if he was more so on the wing coming up and not going to be down low at times, that would be a bit more of a concern. And to be honest, him and Henrique kind of swap who's low and who's high in the zone and the D zone. And so that makes sense. And
but that's the whole point, is just that even if a guy is at center, it doesn't mean that he has to take on all of the responsibility right away. And anyway, like we talked about this in the Patreon, but that's kind of where I'm at with Dallas Eakins. Is I'm almost just kind of done critiquing him because I just don't see a path for him to return after this season. So it's almost like, let's talk about something else. But anyway, in this Canadian game, though, the Ducks look good. I thought that they didn't play amazingly well. That the Canadians played pretty poorly, but for a team that has struggled so badly this season, for the Ducks to look as good as they did, it's a positive development, no matter how you want to spin it.
Yeah, it's 100% a positive development because, especially if we had to pinpoint, right, what's the number one issue for the Ducks this season? What would it be?
Defending.
Okay.
Controlling the puck, however you want to frame that.
Yep, exactly. This was the Ducks' absolute best game from a defensive perspective. They only allowed 1.27 expected goals against over the course of the game.
Yeah.
That is a season low for them. The next lowest was 1.77 against Ottawa. Back, I think that was the day after Thanksgiving game, maybe, where they allowed a bunch of goals, but defensively they actually weren't horrible. But I mean, there are plenty of games this season where they're well above 2 into the 3s, and one game where they're in the 4s in terms of expected goals against. So the fact that they were able to keep the Canadians down to 1.27, that kind of goes to show that they were really on top of their game in their own zone. Part of that may be the Canadians, like you said, not executing, but the Ducks do deserve some credit for being able to be a little bit more stout in their defensive zone and really protect Lukas Dostal, because Dostal got shelled against the Canadians.
The Oilers.
Not the Canadians, not the Oilers. The Maple Leafs, he got shelled. Like he was not getting protected very much.
Yeah, we won't talk about those games. Those games just didn't happen.
No, they didn't. And so on the offensive side, things weren't as rosy either. Like they only generated 2 expected goals for. But if you're limiting the other team to under 1.5, getting 2 still puts you in you're getting more than the other team. And so they were in a really good spot. And obviously the standout performance from this game is Mason McTavish.
Yes.
The numbers he was able to produce, and the fact that he's doing it with his line mates. I mean, in this game, I believe
he played with Comtois this game.
Yeah.
And they look good together.
And I would really, really like to see someone other than Brett Leeson on that line. But, I mean, at least he's with someone that can actually finish the puck, that he can move the puck to.
Yeah, I thought that this was also a great game for Comtois. This was probably one of his better games this season. Just from an eye test perspective, he was actually handling the puck. He was getting through the neutral zone. He was making plays down low. And he showed a chemistry with Mason McTavish that I think kind of makes sense, because McTavish is such a creator, and he's got his fingers in every situation. He's everywhere. And Comtois is the kind of guy who's just kind of hanging around, waiting to pounce on those opportunities, and he's got that finishing touch. So we'll see if that chemistry continues to develop, or if they'll even get the chance to continue to develop it. But that was also an encouraging sign from this game. And yeah, like outside of that, the performance wasn't all that amazing, but just kind of getting these little pockets of positive play. And we haven't even talked about Lukas Dostal yet. We'll get to him probably more about we get to Edmonton game. But just a positive kind of normal win, which the Ducks haven't been able to conjure much of this season.
When you're dealing with the season like the Ducks have had, where it's rare for them to get more chances than the other team, the fact that they were able to do it, the fact that they were able to get a regulation win, the fact that they were able to also, while blowing, what was it, a 2-0 lead in this game that they had, and they blew a 2-0 lead and allowed it to get tied. Then were able to take the 3-2 lead and eventually get 2 empty netters, I believe, to make it a 5-2 final. And so this was a game where the Ducks did get counterpunched. Like, it's not like this was a dominant performance from top to bottom. Which granted, this team's probably not going to have.
There was a little luck. There was a little luck on both sides, I would say. Like the Canadians' second goal was a kind of this bounce off the end boards, and Klingberg's second goal was just this kind of errant point shot that somehow beat Jake Allen. So there was a little randomness on both sides too. It wasn't like a perfect clean result.
But where I'm going with this is we'll get into the Edmonton game, but this was a game where the Ducks took the lead. They didn't fully sit back on it, and when they did get scored on, they didn't necessarily collapse from that perspective and start getting shelled. They got themselves back into the game and played a good game overall. And dealt with the ebbs and flows that come in a game. You're not going to even the best teams in the league, they're not going to dominate a whole 60 minutes. That's just not possible. And so you have to be able to punch and counterpunch. Like that's how it works in this league. And so I think that this was a really good example of that for the Ducks.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else on this game?
Nope. I mean, second regulation win for the Ducks on the season. Doubled their total. There's that.
Actually, it was their third time leading after 2 periods of the entire season.
They have not led for very much this year at 5-on-5.
Insane.
I was looking at the score state charts on HockeyViz, and they've been down 1 for 325 minutes, tied for 600 minutes, down 2 for 189 minutes, down 3 or more for 206 minutes. They've been up 1 for 178 minutes, up 2 for 51 minutes.
Oh my God.
So most of the time's been tied at least.
Yeah, but there you go. There's this positive spin.
I mean, it goes tied, down 1, down 3 or more, down 2, then up 1, and then up 2. And they've never been up by 3 or more.
Oh my gosh.
That's wild to think about. The Ducks have never been up by... Well, that's at 5 on... No, they won that... I don't know. The Montreal game was up by 3 technically at the end, but it was empty netters.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, I think we have just enough time here to cover the Edmonton game.
Yep.
So, this was a tale of 2 games. Should we call it that?
A tale of 2 halves.
A tale of 1 period and two other periods.
A tale of 1.5 periods.
So, first period, I thought that the Ducks played a good period, I would say. Like, on balance, the 2 standout moments, like, to me, the first period was the Mason McTavish party. As the game went along, it became the Lukas Dostal party. But the first goal of the night for Anaheim, the pass by Mason McTavish to set up a Sam Carrick tap-in.
Oh, boy.
It's just like, there's something about a really nice assist that just kind of hits a little different than a really nice shot or a really nice goal. The fact that Mason McTavish, and you wrote about this in your article, like the fact that he came in, kind of observed, analyzed, and assessed situation, and had the opportunity to shoot. Like, he could have taken a very dangerous, defensible shot.
That's what the coaching staff probably would say.
Pucks on net. Keep it simple.
If that puck doesn't go in by Carrick, I guarantee the coach and the broadcast would have been like,
he's overpassing.
He's overpassing. They're trying to pass the puck into the back of the net. You just got to put the puck on net.
Yeah. But it was the layering of skills and decisions that really made that so special, because he knows he's a shot threat. He does a little shot fake to open up the passing angle, holds onto it a little longer, threads it underneath the defender's stick to Sam Carrick, who has a wide open net. Like, Sam Carrick could have scored and then probably pulled the puck back out and scored again. Like, that's how much time he had to do it. And it was just everything that I think we're learning about Mason McTavish, which is just that a very skilled player, but just so smart. Like just everything he does, it just always feels like he's just a step or two ahead of the other players on the ice.
We talk about Trevor Zegras a lot, right? With sending out misinformation. That's one of his number one strengths in this league is he's constantly sending out misinformation to defenders to really throw them off so that when he eventually makes the move he wants to make, they don't know that it's coming. That's what this play really reminded me of with Mason McTavish, because here's the thing with that play. He comes in, I've watched the goal a couple times when I broke it down a little bit, put the video in the article that I did. And he comes in, he's able to get the pass. Really, actually, nice play by Jason Megna. Is able to get the puck off the...
Jason Megna shout out.
I know. Gets the puck off the wall.
Who's, by the way, a Duck now.
Yeah. Did that happen over... I don't even... Yeah. The last week is a blur for me, to be honest. So
same.
makes the pass to Mason McTavish, who's coming in with speed. And McTavish makes a little stutter step that freezes... I can't remember who the Oilers defender was that he freezes, but he takes this little stutter step that almost looks like a shot that freezes the Oilers defender, and that makes it so it opens up the lane to the left, and he goes to that. And here's the thing: if Darnell Nurse stays with Sam Carrick on the back post, that then leaves Mason McTavish free to go in on a one-on-one, basically on the goalie, because he's frozen the Oilers defender. The Oilers defender's on the back foot. He's going to easily be able to get around him. He was able to recognize, and this is all while, if you watch his head, he never looks. He never turns his head and looks at Sam Carrick.
Yeah, never telegraphs it.
Darnell Nurse commits to him because he's frozen that defenseman. Nurse comes over to help, realizes that might be the higher threat. And McTavish, all in this play, and this all is happening in the span of what, a second or two?
Yeah, it's like a 3-second span.
Able to identify that the space is there for the pass. The shot is now not going to be as dangerous because Darnell Nurse is coming over. He has both Oilers defenders committing to him, and that's left Sam Carrick on the back post, and no look feeds it to Sam Carrick on the back post, who's able to finish it. And so these are just the high-skilled type of plays where I guarantee if you asked Mason about it, I don't know if he could break it down in terms of recognizing all those things. But
I'm sure he could, honestly.
It's possible.
I actually believe he could based on his quotes.
More saying that these are all the quick decisions that he's making. That
in the moment, he's not like, I get what you're saying.
He can remember and like say, yes, that's what I meant to do. That's what I was planning to do. But these are, when you're in the moment, you can't take a second to think. It's all reactionary.
Yeah.
And those types of things can't be taught in terms of being able to read the play, understand the situation. That is what hockey IQ essentially means, is being able to read that situation and have that.
Well, I think they can be taught, but it's another thing to actually implement the teachings. And that's the thing with McTavish, is that he's got it all. He's able to study the film and then go out there and recognize, oh, this is that situation I was studying or
and
what
so
have
this was just a high skilled play that really made me go because last season he obviously tore up the OHL, but there's only so much you can do there, and this was the play where he's obviously had some really good games. Obviously the Montreal game, we talk about all these different things about how he's able to really impact the game and really move the puck in transition, have these strong games. But this was the first moment where I was like, oh, there's the high skill that a lot of people were talking about last year.
Yes.
There is that play. There's that thing. There's that situation that you can't necessarily teach completely. And this is the reason why he was taken third overall. These types of plays.
Yes, I think that's a great point. And you saw it even on the Fowler goal in that first period where he loads up on his forehand. He's on his strong side that time. This is on the power play. And, more of a routine play, but still a smart play, dumps it off. Draws
he soaks up the pressure and knows that there's an Oiler on his hip, which leaves an open man.
Yeah, because like with Trevor Zegras, we saw it within the first 3 games of him being in the NHL of why, like that, this is why he's an NHLer.
Yeah.
But with McTavish, it's taken a little time, and I think that I didn't expect it to come this way, because all we ever heard about in junior was his shot and his one-timer, and that big, like even the draft night or going into the draft, I don't know if it was Bob Murray or someone saying, oh, he can shoot it through a car door. Everyone, that line got repeated at least 17 times. Yeah. And I think that it's almost even more encouraging that we haven't really seen that from him yet. He's starting to get his one-timer off on the power play, but it's harder to, like, if you're scoring on a big shot in junior, like, beating junior goalies is different than beating NHL goalies, right? You're shooting it past these goalies. They just can't handle that level of speed. You could see it in his junior film. But the fact that he's actually impacting the game in a way where he's not overpowering, but instead overpowering physically, but instead overpowering with his mind, I think that's so encouraging, because now the possibilities are starting to expand of how he can impact a game. So it's very exciting. We're gushing over it, but I think it's well deserved, and I think that's why, even though this season has been such a misery for the Ducks at times, like those moments of seeing, especially like a player like McTavish come into his own, it just makes it worth following. You want to see how it unfolds, what these players become.
Yeah, and so we'll jump into more of this game, because that basically covers the first period right there.
Yeah, that was the tale of the first.
The Ducks played a good period. It was a little bit of a low event period. It ended up being, what was it, 0.82 expected goals for in all situation to 0.68 in all situations. So overall, relatively low event, even if it resulted in a 2-1 score. But before we get into the rest of the game, let's have a brief word from our sponsor. So this episode is brought to you by 714 Tickets. So we're all excited for the hockey season. Also, it's the holiday season. And you know what would make a great gift for someone, Felix? It would be tickets.
Yes.
Because who doesn't want to go to a Ducks game to see everything that we've talked about with Mason McTavish, Trevor Zegras? Like, even with how the team has been, this is still a fun team to watch in person. There's some high-skilled plays that are going to happen. It's honestly worth the price of admission, even in a losing season, to go see Trevor Zegras, to go see Mason McTavish, or if you want to go to any other sporting event. 714 Tickets has you absolutely covered. And that's where, I mean, this is where 714 Tickets comes in. They're a locally owned ticket company in Anaheim that never charges you taxes or service fees, unlike StubHub or Ticketmaster. And for those of you that do pay attention
those fees are rough.
To the news, whether you've been trying to get tickets like me to go see Blink-182, whether all the Taylor Swift stuff, those fees are not fun to deal with, and 714 Tickets does not charge those for you. And they're also located right in front of Honda Center, but they also have a website, 714tickets.com, where you can earn 5% back in rewards on every online purchase. So let's recap. You get to see your favorite team play, or you can gift these tickets to someone also to see the Ducks play, to see whoever they want to play. And you pay no fees, and you can earn rewards back for future purchases. It sounds like a no-brainer to me. So shop your Ducks tickets or any tickets at 714tickets.com, or stop by their office for a more personal feel. You can check them out and use the promo code CTP to get 10% off your purchase. Thank you so much, 714 Tickets. Please go check them out. And I guess I'll just do this. 714 Tickets, 714 Tickets. There you go.
I was thinking about doing that, but I'm glad you took the ball and ran with it.
You know, that's what I'm here for.
Support a local business. Like,
yes.
This is your moment. Everyone talks about it. Now go out and do it. Okay.
Yep.
Let's talk about the rest of this game. So the Ducks got a lead, got excited. The Oilers got down, got excited to come back. And those energies led to drastically divergent styles of play.
Oh, boy.
The Oilers turned it on, poured it on, and the Ducks kind of sat back.
They just accepted it.
They just kind of took it, and it was a bit rough to watch. And, you know, there was some, actually commentary on Twitter of, oh, well, look, you know, they're actually keeping things to the outside and blah, blah. They were not. The Oilers were carving them up defensively. They were getting into the slot. Yeah. And you know why you could look at it and say that it wasn't that bad, or why people may even conjure up that argument? Because Lukas Dostal made 46 saves on 49 shots and looked absolutely amazing in this game. Like, this is no hyperbole. That was one of the best goaltending performances I've seen, period.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, of any
it
goalie.
Was probably the best performance the Ducks have had this season from goaltender. And so really briefly, just to add some context to this this game. So the Ducks went up 3-1, right? Ryan Strome, we haven't really talked about this yet, but Ryan Strome goes in on a breakaway after being able to pick off a pass to the blue line, is able to bury it.
Yeah, nice play by Strome.
After that, the Ducks, let's see. At the time of that goal, let me turn off score adjustment here, just so we can just be level with shot attempts. At the point of that goal, the Ducks had taken 29 shot attempts for at the time there. They ended the game with 38 shot attempts. That means they took 9 shot attempts. And that goal, by the way, came at with 11:29 left in the second period. So there was over half the game left, and the Ducks took 9 shot attempts while they had previously taken 29.
9 shot attempts.
Yeah, not just shots on goal.
9 shot attempts in half a game is not a lot either. So
from an expected goals perspective, they were at 1.32 at the time of that goal. They ended the game at 1.65. The Oilers, on the other hand, at the time of that goal, were sitting at 29. They were also at 29 shot attempts for. So the same amount as the Ducks. Want to guess where the Oilers ended up? I know you've looked at this. I don't think you have it open, but guess where the Oilers ended up.
78.
82.
Oh my, I was close. Wow.
82 shot attempts. That means that over that period and a half, the Ducks allowed 53 shot attempts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. To have that low amount for and that high against or high amount against, it's a minor miracle the Ducks only allowed 2 goals.
Well, the miracle has a name, and its name is Lukas Dostal. Here's the deal. Here's the deal on this. The Ducks are the worst defensive team in the NHL. The Ducks never lead, as we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And the Oilers are not a great team, but they have highly, highly talented players, and you factor in the score effect situation, and this was just a perfect storm. You could have probably predicted that it would go this way. And yes,
I don't know if you would have predicted it going. The thing is,
sure,
you could have said
it's not surprising that it played out this way. Is what I'm trying to say. This is kind of par for what I would expect from a team that's been so bad at 5-on-5 this season.
I'm surprised that this team got 9 shot attempts in a period and a half.
I think it's a combination to me of the fact that they are so deficient at 5-on-5 as it is, and the fact that they are not well coached. It's both.
Yeah,
it's both, and all those things work together.
I guarantee that probably the message from the coaching staff, and the thing is, it could have been a bunch of things. It could be the players, it could be the coaching staff, but I think with what
long
we know,
road trip, tail end of a road trip.
I think from what we know, I guarantee the coaching staff was probably saying, let's try to slow them down. Probably not sending guys in on the forecheck, trying to really slow the game down and keep it back.
Well, also keep going, yeah.
And the thing is, all that does is that just allows constant pressure. And even if you're doing a decent job of keeping them to the outside, there's going to be a mistake that happens if you're constantly defending. It's funny, the broadcast actually brought this up, that when the Ducks are defending so much, that of course they're going to take penalties because they're constantly defending.
The Ducks I think, take the most penalties in the NHL.
And so even if you keep guys to the outside, if you're constantly defending, you're putting yourself in a position to make
you get tired.
Yeah.
You make mental errors because you have less oxygen going to your brain.
And so you said it best, though. The reason why they were able to weather the storm and come out of this game with the win was due to Lukas Dostal. Lukas Dostal alone. And you look at that game, and there are 2 saves that really stand out right away. There's the one on, and they came pretty close to each other, I think a couple minutes apart from each other in the third period. But Leon Draisaitl has a one-timer on the power play that starts, and the Oilers end up scoring on this power play on the 5-on-3 that ensues after this. But it's a play where McDavid is able to feed the puck across the crease, or across the Royal Road to Leon Draisaitl. And granted, he's a little bit high, maybe high face-off dots, but he one-times it, and Dostal just makes the smoothest slide over and gets his glove in a position. And I mentioned this on the Patreon episode we did on the weekend, but that save and just the fact that it looks so nonchalant really is so impressive when you re-watch it, because the fact that Dostal's out at the top of his crease and is able to read the pass and slide over with such a strong first push. And it's not off the post. It's not off of someone else. It's just a first push off the ice. Is able to slide so calm, cool, and collected, where he's able to make sure he reads the shot and gets his glove into position. And the fact that he's able to do that without sprawling, without putting himself in a weird position where he's essentially staying in control the entire time, that type of save off that type of shot is so impressive.
Yeah, that save was, like you said, so impressive. The fact that he did it, I mean, you couldn't ask for a worse scenario if you're a goalie. You have Connor McDavid slicing in on one side, gets it perfectly across. Your defense has done nothing to stop that or slow that down. And Leon Draisaitl gets all of this shot. And like you said, maybe he's a little far out, but Dostal just calmly gets across, And there was a lot of net for Draisaitl to shoot at, but Dostal was there, and he had his head moving, his arms were free and relaxed from his body, and he was able to just pick the puck out of the air like it was nothing. And it wasn't nothing. Like the ability to make that save against those all-world talents is something that's only cultivated through years and years of diligent training and also ability and talent. And so for Dostal to make that save, just like you can't make that save by accident. Like that is just a legit save. And he would go on to make many others in this game, but that was kind of a wow moment for me. Almost like in a way what we were talking about earlier with McTavish and the assist he had on the Carrick goal. It was just like, okay, I knew this guy was a good prospect, but now I'm seeing it live in front of me. And it's exciting. Like, it's just so exciting to see a young player start to make his mark at such a high level.
Yeah, and there were a couple other saves in this game. I think a notable one is Zach Hyman cutting through the crease, and he's able to really push off the post. Push off the post, get his leg to stop the first shot, and then Hyman is able to get to the rebound, and he's able to really sprawl over and get on that. And the thing that was impressive there is just his ability to push off the post. And, I mean, just his pushes in general, just how smooth he is and how he's not out of control when he does it. But he doesn't, it's not like he's waiting too long on it either. And I think he's just
got
really
that timing down.
He's got the timing down, and he almost because that's the thing with being a goalie is it's all about that push. And if you do it too much and push too strong, you're going to take yourself out of position. And it's really a timing situation. And it's fascinating to watch,
especially on that save, the Hyman save, where he makes the initial save, and he makes it look rather routine. But then there's a rebound, and he just sprawls out and gets his arm down perfectly. And now this is a desperation save. This is one of those saves where you kind of throw out the rules a little bit. You know, you're scrambling, but there's still an art to it. He's still in control. He's still able to get there and show off some athleticism in the process. I mean, it was hard not to look at that save and not think about a countryman of Lukas Dostal, Dominik Hasek, because it was a similar kind of sprawled out desperation save, and I'm sure he's looked at a few Hasek highlights in his day. So all in all, though, the thing with Dostal and what makes him so good is that he doesn't need to make those saves very often. At least in what we've seen so far and what we've heard about him is that those saves are the exception to the rule. More often than not, he's very in control, very smooth on his feet, and just reading the play and tracking the puck.
It really reminds me of Freddie Anderson when he broke into the league. And while a little bit different, because Anderson obviously was a bit bigger, being, 6'4", 6'5".
Different bodies, but similar styles, yeah.
Yeah, and it's very interesting the contrast between him and, like, a John Gibson, for instance, where John Gibson is a guy that his positioning might not always be the best, but he has the athletic ability to make up for it. Dostal's all about that positioning, and that's really what drives his game. And that was the same thing with Freddie Anderson. I remember it was such an interesting contrast when both Anderson and Gibson were the Ducks goalies, because they were just so distinctly different. On all accounts. There's
just something fun about seeing a new goalie, and kind of because most goalies play a similar style. Like, most goalies play almost the exact same way.
It's not like you have butterfly versus stand-up.
Yeah, man. How fun would it be if we still had stand-up goalies?
Remember when the whole, like, description of goalie was, like, he's a butterfly goalie?
Yeah.
Remember, like, 10, 15 years ago? That was something Brian Hayward always harped on, was like, he's a butterfly goalie, so you got to shoot high.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was playing goalie way back in the day, 15 years ago or whatever, there was like butterfly, stand-up, and hybrid, right?
Yeah.
Like that was a big deal if you were a hybrid goalie.
Yeah.
Even in the NHL games, like you could make your goalie be a hybrid goalie.
Yep.
And nowadays, like no one even thinks about that anymore. It's like I would say every goalie is a quote-unquote hybrid goalie now. But despite that, there's going to be little wrinkles in every one goalie's game, and it's going to make for some interesting conversation and viewing. And with Dostal, he's just so different from Gibson and so different from Stolarz as well, that it's fun to watch, and does kind of beg the question, Jake. Like, Lukas Dostal has had a 916 all the way through in the AHL. Anthony Stolarz is a pending UFA. Are the stars aligning here eventually for a move, for a permanent promotion up to the NHL for Dostal?
Here's the tough thing. The goaltending market's a weird one.
It's strange, yes.
Where there's not always a need for a goalie at the deadline, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's more so a situational thing, and it depends. Honestly, more so if a team has a goalie go down. Like, that is honestly when you see guys make moves for goaltending. And so I'm going to be very interested if a team, for instance, let's say, I don't know, the Maple Leafs. One of their goalies go down. And honestly, the Maple Leafs could probably use Stolarz even if they don't go down.
Right. Yeah,
and
I don't know if Matt Murray is who I'm trusting with.
Matt Murray and Ilya Samsonov.
Yeah.
Not exactly going to give you a lot of faith there. But
yeah.
I think that this definitely makes Anthony Stolarz look a bit more expendable because, I mean, Lukas Dostal, he looks NHL ready right now.
He does. And he's got the thing is, this is a small sample. Like, this is a tiny sample.
Yep.
But he's been getting it done in the AHL, and it's carrying over. And the thing with Stolarz is that I just don't see how you can justify re-signing him beyond the season. Like, as good as he's been for this team and as solid of a backup as he's been at times, the Ducks have to eventually get Dostal up into the NHL, and Calle Klang is over in Europe right now. I would imagine they want to get him into North American hockey at some point. So it just kind of makes sense. Like, even if you ride it out with Stolarz this season and you don't trade him, but you don't re-sign him, like, I just think at some point that this Dostal thing needs to happen. And I think the bigger question, now this is maybe getting too far ahead, but
let me just jump in very quickly on that front. The one thing that's a counter to that, right?
Okay.
Is the fact that how much they play John Gibson, how much Dallas Eakins plays him.
Yes.
You don't have Lukas Dostal on the roster if he's just going to be riding backup and play 10 games the rest of the season.
Yes.
And so that is the argument for sending him back to the AHL and keeping Anthony Stolarz and not necessarily looking to move him right now, because you want Lukas Dostal to play games. That's more important, him getting in the lineup and playing games, than sitting on the bench at the NHL.
But here's what I will say, and this is what I was getting at, and you kind of predicted it, is that I think that the way Dostal looks, this is a perfect opportunity to go to a tandem, right? Like, if once you eventually trade Stolarz, whenever that is, or if you just don't re-sign him, when Dostal is eventually with this team, don't have him be a 20-game backup. Have him be let's see a legitimate tandem between Gibson and Dostal, and I think you maximize both goalies in that way. Yep. I think that, to your point, it doesn't make sense for him to come up and just be a guy who barely plays. But I think that you have an opportunity here, and this will take a big shift within the organization.
Yeah.
And it might not be realistic to be to see this happen, but I think that that's what they should do, is eventually get to that point where you have a near even split between Gibson and Dostal. I think that at that point, I want to see Gibson in a tandem, because I think that that's where we've seen him, not always at his best, but I think that that's where he can thrive now, just given all the miles he's got in his body.
Yep, I would agree with that. Let's see. Anything else from this game?
No, I mean, I think we kind of hit it. It was the McTavish show at first, then it became the Dostal show. I should also point out that John Klingberg did pick up another goal in the third period. Maybe not the most, let's call it like a goal he saw coming. I mean, it was just another one of those kind of throwing the puck on net, and it happened to get through. But it's another good development for Klingberg personally, and also a good development for his trade value. I don't really have a ton else to say on him there, but it's just good to see that he's at least getting some production.
Yep, definitely. I think that's probably it for me on this game. Colton White was randomly sent down on a conditioning loan. Not quite sure how that works, because he just played.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Because I feel like you can send a guy down on a conditioning loan if he has not played in a while, just to get him some ice time.
Yeah, he just played.
Yeah, like I think about Shane Wright was able to be sent down to the AHL on a conditioning loan because he hadn't played a certain amount of games. Mm-hmm. And so weird that Colton White was able to be, but he was sent down on a conditioning loan to the goals. So that happened.
Yeah, so Nathan Beaulieu season just fully upon us.
Oh, boy. All right, want to get some questions?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so actually, we have 2 on YouTube, so let's just start there. Yes, we're on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/crashthepond, where you can subscribe, like our videos, comment, everything like that. A lot of comments on the last video. Thank you, everyone. We are seeing all of them, especially you, Stingray, coming in for the second bite that says he bites because he loves.
I did not feel the love.
Okay. Hannah Trainer asks, question from her 9-year-old daughter, Ruby. Who is your favorite current Ducks player?
Favorite player? Well, just as a, fan of the game, watching these guys play, I don't think I get enough of... right now, it's probably Mason McTavish, just because I'm fascinated with his development. But as a rule of thumb, it's always Troy Terry. Just, I can't get enough of watching that guy play.
Yeah, I think it's Troy Terry and Trevor Zegras for me. I think it's hard to it's splitting hairs between the two of them because they're both so good in their different ways. And
that's what's fun about these players is that they're so different.
Yeah. And so they'll entertain you in different ways. And so I think from my perspective, the way that my taste in hockey has gone is, sure, the physical aspect is there, but that's not necessarily something I come back for every game. It's fun. It's there. It is what it is. For me, it's the high skill level plays. It's the stuff that you can't necessarily be taught. That it's something that these guys just have ingrained with them. And it's these they get you out of your seat moments with those plays. The ones that you have to almost do a double take on what happened, and just the fact that something that special happened. And so both Trevor Zegras and Troy Terry do that, and that's, for me, is why they're my favorite players. And then Matt also asked, will you guys be watching much of the World Juniors? I'm excited to see some of the 23 draft prospects and Nathan Gaucher. I'm not as high on him as other Ducks fans, but definitely wanting to be shown the light.
Yeah, so for Canada, they have
Olin Zellweger and Nathan Gaucher.
Yeah, and there's also Tyson Hines.
Yeah.
I don't know how much he's going to play. I'll probably watch a decent amount. I honestly haven't watched it very much in recent years. It's also kind of hard to watch Hockey Canada in good faith these days, but you still root for the actual players on the ice. But the Ducks, they don't really have they don't really have the kind of guys like in years past with McTavish and Zegras that I feel like I almost have to watch.
Olin Zellweger's close this year.
Zellweger's probably in that realm. Yeah.
Yeah, but, the fact with what he did in the Summer World Junior and the fact that this will be kind of his first real World Junior where he can really take over games.
Yeah.
I think I'm really excited to see what he can do as the older guy in this group. And really, I mean, it's essentially what Trevor Zegras did, right? In that final World Junior. He was clearly the best player on the ice. And the fact you look at what he was able to do in the summer tournament and how he had the most points by a defenseman in Hockey Canada history or something along those lines. I forget the exactly what it was, but it was up there. And seeing that and seeing what he can do, I'm really excited to see, especially with the fact that he's not going to be on a power play with Connor Bedard. It's going to be fascinating to watch.
Yeah, another future Duck. So I guess we're watching many Ducks. Yeah, I guess Sasha Pastujov didn't make Team USA.
Yeah, Not a Real Duck in our Twitch said, how do you feel about the Pastujov stuff on Team USA? I'm not too surprised. He didn't really get put in an elevated role and barely was used last year in summer by Team USA. And so, I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about it. He's kind of had an up and he's still putting up points in junior. You and I covered this a bit on our Patreon episode, which if you want to hear us talk about our top 10 prospects on the Ducks, that was our last Patreon episode.
Yeah. Good plug.
Go check it out. Yeah. That's what I'm here for. But yeah, so let's get to questions though from our Discord. So, and then we'll come back to Twitch. So please people, everyone in the Twitch, throw a question and throw your questions there and we'll get to them all. We'll kind of end with you to finish off the show, save the best for last. So Literate Gal said, why do the Ducks, and also YouTube, also you, if you have more questions, throw them in. Not discriminating against that.
Yeah.
Literate Gal, Kedat Matt said, do you guys think the season would have gone a little differently if Zegras' lacrosse goal wasn't overturned? No.
Legitimately, that did feel like a momentum swing. I hate to use the word momentum.
I was at that game.
I remember that going in and thinking, oh my God, we're back. We're back with exciting Ducks hockey, and then it was dashed.
Yeah, I don't think it actually makes a difference, but man, it would have given us
the vibes.
Highlight. The vibes. The vibes, depending on who you ask, are still on point.
That's true. Exciting times in Duckland.
Yes. Literally, Cal asked, why do the Ducks duck? And she said, honestly, will the Ducks ever trade for someone the room likes? I think that means us / the listeners, everything like that.
Well, we liked the, I guess it wasn't a trade, but we liked Pat Verbeek's signings this summer.
Yeah, we like the Michael Delzato trade.
I don't think I could care less about the Michael Delzato trade.
We like the Michael Delzato
This isn't even a
trade.
criticism of it. It's just like,
you know,
I'm trying to be better about not overanalyzing AHL moves. So
bring that leadership for Drew Hellison.
Like, I will just never forgive myself for having written like an article breakdown of the Alexander Volkov trade a few years ago. Oh my.
I will remember how much time we spent on that?
Yeah, and it was just like I watched shifts of his. Like I remember we had Instat back then. And I remember going back and watching, and for those who don't know, Instat's like a video platform where you can pull up player shifts. I remember going back and watching and like running the. And I was just like, why? Like in a hindsight,
why?
That
was peak pandemic where we didn't have a whole lot other to do.
That was just so. That was so bad. And now Alexander Volkov is like 4 points or whatever in the KHL. So
I'm trying to shit. Who did they trade for him?
It was Antoine Morin.
There it is. Max Comtois' best friend.
Future Jonathan Marchessault, according to some.
Yeah.
Hasn't quite panned out that way.
Nope. Let's see. 91 Blue said, predict what draft pick the Ducks will have once the lottery is said and done. First.
I think it's got to be first. Yeah. No? I mean, let's say it's second. Yeah. It's still a great outcome.
I'm going first. We're living in a world of hope, and they're getting the first overall pick. Our good friend Eric Stites, Ducks Jaggernaut, said, now that the Ducks are Stanley Cup champions, I think this is referring to the fact that they've gotten Delzato. Does Akins get his flowers at a 5-year extension?
How long before Michael Delzato gets called up? Like he's playing a game for the Ducks this season. There's no way that Akins is going to be able to resist not talking his boss into calling him up.
The thing is, Delzato's probably a vibes guy.
I mean, he seems like he has a good time off the ice. He's made quite a few podcast appearances.
Yeah,
where he's talked about that. So
yeah, seems like a vibes
guy. But yeah, he's playing for the Ducks this season. I'm just getting out ahead of it.
Yeah, not a real Ducks. He's the locker room DJ. I think that's the biggest thing. Is that you or me that?
Okay. My cat in the background she's scratching herself.
The thing is,
and she's got a Christmas bell on. It's like a jingle bell. Seeing
as I have a child and a cat, I could not tell you if that was coming from me or from you.
Yeah, potato.
Either way. Yeah, Michael Delzato's the locker room DJ, so he's got to teach Drew Hellison how to really.
Well, Kevin Shattenkirk's the DJ, I think. Anyway, this is too much.
Shattenkirk's gonna get traded. They need to have a new locker room.
Well,
DJ.
he's a pending UFA. So, maybe that's what this is setting up for.
Delzato gets called up to be the new locker room DJ.
We should honestly clip this because I feel like this has legit a potential of happening.
Shattenkirk traded, Delzato called up to just be the DJ.
By the way,
what's happening?
By the way, the Ducks injured reserve list right now
it's a laundry list.
It's a laundry list, yeah, and it's like important names.
And they're still not even close to like the salary cap at all with this many injuries, and so they're not even close to having a need to use LTIR.
No.
Jared said goalie pipeline has Gibson, Stolars, Dostal, and Klang. Dostal looks great, but how ideally does Verbeek handle this pipeline from now to the trade deadline?
Trade Stolars.
I think that's around the deadline that happens, though.
Yeah. I think you need to get some value for Stolars if there's a deal to be made.
Yeah.
Also, no Ole Eriksson Ek shout out there.
No, he's fallen off.
No current Ducks backup.
No Roman Durney shout-outs?
He's getting NHL checks. Is Roman Durney even in the organization
I don't know. Whenever I hear Eriksson Ek, I think of Durney also.
I
feel like Eriksson Ek, Durney, and Dostal were all that like same class of like goalies coming into the system.
I care more about Roman Durney than Jack Kopaka. I'll say that much.
Wow. Shots fired at Green Bastard. The Puff said, I stand corrected with the fact that the Ducks have 2 regulation wins now, or the fact they have 3 now. Will there be more regulation wins?
Yes. They might win it. Like, they're playing LA tomorrow night.
Wait, what was it the last podcast that we said over-under on number of regulation wins? And we said under 5?
Yeah,
under 5.5.
We're eating crow massively.
They just need 2 more we said under 5.5 was what it was.
By the way, Roman Durney's playing in Slovakia now.
There it is.
He's played 7 games this year.
For those wondering, the Roman Durney stands.
So
Isaac asked, we've seen flashes of a solid team. Where does it go and why does it disappear so often?
I mean, flashes is like pretty generous. We've seen blips. What's lower than a flash?
A snap?
I don't know. we've seen momentary evidence of good play, but honestly, the flashes have been so infrequent that I don't think it's surprising that we don't see them that often. Coaching doesn't help. Doesn't help.
And then final question from Discord, and then we'll get to Twitch. Heyo D-Flow said, and I don't know if you saw this, our good friend Lou, late arrival Lou. That's what we're going to dub him now, late arrival Lou. He has a lower body injury from today.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to keep him out of Honda Center for the next Ducks home game, or do you think he's going to power through?
I think Lou will self-medicate and we'll power through, and we'll get there.
There it is. All right, so let's get to some questions from our Twitch. Yeah, go to twitch.tv/CrashSpawn. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free Twitch Prime gaming sub each and every month. You do have to hit that subscribe button after 30 days. It does help support us more than you can imagine. And you get special emotes in the chat, special badges next to your name. Reach20 said, question, has it now become a quota for the Ducks to have at least one defensive liability in their top 6 every year? I think that's meant to be like top 6 defensemen.
Yeah, I mean that's been the way that the cookie has crumbled.
That's kind of honestly the case for most teams, though. I feel
there's always going to be like most teams don't have 6 great defensemen, but the Ducks just have gone out and gotten the very worst on the third pairing. Like getting Nathan Beaulieu, choosing to have Nathan Beaulieu on your team and playing him is baffling. And I mean, I feel like we haven't really talked about this enough, but like Jamie Drysdale is not playing, and it really sucks because as we're seeing the likes of McTavish, Dostal, Zegras, like seeing these guys play well and find their footing, like this was a big year for Drysdale, and his presence would have meant a lot for this blue line. Now, in no way am I suggesting that would have made the difference here, but it's just that, hey, maybe if Drysdale's in the lineup, maybe you don't get as much of you don't get as much of Beaulieu and maybe not as much of Simon Benoit in key roles. Who, by the way, everyone seems to be in agreement that Simon Benoit is like this, solid, like just quietly effective defenseman, and like he can be fine in moments, but the numbers are just ghastly this season. So,
yep,
just need to dispel that notion.
Let's see. Rooch also asked, does Mason McTavish have a higher upside than Trevor Zegras?
I don't think so. I think that they're kind of on the same level.
I think it's also a different type of upside. I think Trevor Zegras has a higher point upside than Mason McTavish.
I think that Mason McTavish could be a better play driver, like a better two-way play driver. And I hate saying that because it kind of reinforces in people's head that, Zegras isn't so great defensively. He's fine there. It's just that I think McTavish has that ability to impact the game kind of in all 3 zones in a different way, in a bigger way than Zegras does. But Zegras, like you said, has a higher upside offensively and on the power play. So it kind of evens out to me. I feel like they're kind of similar upsides.
Yeah.
Just in different fashions.
Yep. And I think that's actually going to do it for us tonight.
Wow. Just like that, huh?
At the hour mark.
I thought I saw something that you didn't get to. Oh wow!
Oh, did I forget something? Did I miss someone? Did I shun someone? I hope I didn't.
I hope you didn't too.
But
by the way,
what it is. Apologies for people if I did.
I just
doing my best here.
I want to point out that I went to Chipotle last night.
Oh, I saw this. Was this a tweet from you?
No more Chipotle.
Why?
No more Chipotle.
Why?
I was hungry, and I didn't have anything ready. I wasn't, didn't have anything to cook.
Okay.
And I was thinking, okay.
Am I going to have to talk you off this ledge?
No, I was like, basically, okay, I need to go eat something that's relatively healthy. It's 8 p.m. I'm not, as Jake is downing a ranch water hard seltzer, not a sponsor. But I'm like,
them
okay.
To be a sponsor.
Yeah, sure. But anyway, so I go to this Chipotle thinking, okay, this is not a bad choice. And it was such a dismal experience just from start to finish. And the food, the food isn't terrible, but it's also just the big problem with Chipotle for me is the temperature of the food. Like you go to In-N-Out and your burger's piping hot. Like it was just made. And Chipotle, it's like every ingredient is a completely different temperature and it just comes out like really like almost cold. And look, In-N-Out to me is the gold standard of customer service. Friendly, they're at least pretending that they're happy to be there. And
they all might be dead. They all might be dead on the inside, though.
Did not get the same at Chipotle. So I'm sorry, but Chipotle is out for me. Not going back. I solemnly swear I'll never return.
If that's your standard for places, you're just not going to go to a lot of places.
I don't. I eat in more often than not.
No, Chipotle's good. Chipotle's a great option if you're looking for macros. Sure, I get what you're saying about the different temperatures. That does not actually bug me.
Well, as far as just like sustenance,
microwave it.
Ugh, no. Ugh.
It's actually not bad if you might because the cheese ends up becoming a bit more melty. It's actually a good call.
Like Chipotle, it's not terrible. Like the food itself is like a 6 out of 10, I would say. Like it can be good. It can hit the spot.
I'd say 7. Wait.
7. It depends.
It depends. Are you not supposed to People are mad at me for saying you microwave rice afterwards. Is that a bad thing to microwave rice?
No, that's fine. I just don't think microwaving Chipotle sounds appetizing at all.
Oh, it's good. Also, Chipotle cold kind of slaps.
There's God, you're gonna make me sick on this podcast. No one wants to hear me vomit. There's this place by me called Chicken Meets Rice, though. Very delicious. Much better. Should have gone there. Went there today.
Well, while we're throwing places under the bus, can I throw a place under the bus?
Okay.
So I was in a rush today during my lunch. I went and got gas. Was very surprised. Got gas for under $4 at a Costco in Tustin. Was very happy about that.
Wait, where?
Costco in Tustin.
Where work? Oh, because you work around there. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you doing in and South Orange
was
County?
just trying to find something quick because just
Did you go to the Costco at the district?
No, I went to the one at Tustin or at like the Tustin Auto.
Oh, Tustin Marketplace.
Yeah.
I used to live by there. Yeah.
And so I was trying to just find a quick meal, trying to get in and out quick after.
There's a lot of places there.
Yes.
So that place is like teeming with food.
But lunchtime on a weekday can also be crazy. So
yes.
I saw El Pollo Loco.
Oh no.
And drove through.
Oh no.
Because I had seen lately, I'm like, they have these stuffed quesadillas. I was like, oh, that actually sounds interesting.
You did it. I can't believe you did it. Well, then again, you're a Del Taco fan, so.
I got the El Pollo Loco chicken poblano stuffed quesadilla. I was in a rush. I saw it. I was like, that sounds interesting. Let's give it a shot.
Why do you do these things?
The issue is when you get a quesadilla, right? What do you expect?
Do these things?
What do you expect? Even if it's called a stuffed quesadilla, it's basically like a crunch wrap is how it ends up. But what does the cheese...
Melty?
Yes.
Was it cold?
The cheese in it was cold, and there was like a cheese sauce.
Ugh.
And I was eating in my car. It spilled on my lap a little. And it was just dripping out of it. Any bite. And it was just like, this is not what I signed up for.
That is really funny.
Please take that off the menu.
That is pitiful. You just like the amount of L's there just compiling.
Just take it off the menu.
Sorry,
please.
I'm laughing at your like awful experience.
I don't care. I'm putting it out on the podcast.
But that is really funny.
It was as I got into it more that I realized like, wait, there you can see the cheese. And it's like just the shredded cheese. And it's not
just fresh out of the bag.
Yeah. Like, what is this? So there's my experience.
You messed up because when you go to El Pollo Loco, if you're going to go, you get the chicken, whatever, half chicken, quarter chicken, whatever.
I wasn't going to eat that in my car.
Rice. Yeah, but you look how it turned out.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. I should have gone to any other place. I should have gone to Starbucks.
If you're in the area again, like within 2 minutes of that, it's a chain, but within 2 minutes of that Costco, there is a, what is it? California Fish Grill? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I know. I had that. I had it last week. Didn't really want that. I knew that was right there also.
That's a good option.
Also, that would have taken too long.
They were kind of slow.
I was in a pinch.
There was an In-N-Out. You could have gone In-N-Out.
In-N-Out in a pinch on a lunch day?
Honestly, every time I have a bad food experience at like a fast food-ish type place, I'm like, man, I could have just gone In-N-Out.
In-N-Out in a pinch on a lunch on a weekday.
Doesn't exist.
Think about what you're saying.
Doesn't exist.
Come on.
You could have gone to Chipotle.
Chipotle would have been a much better option.
There's a Chipotle around there.
Yeah, there's a cacophony of options.
Honestly, I think the best The best move if you're in a rush is to go into a grocery store and grab something pre-made. I feel like that's your best bet. Like if you go to Sprouts, they have the sandwiches that you can get made, or you could grab pre-made ones, or if you're by a Whole Foods, you can go into the hot bar or whatever.
I got one other take for you.
Okay.
That's a good one.
That's a bold claim.
I have fully bought into Board and Brew.
What is that? Why do people?
A sandwich chain that I have
Board and
discovered
Brew.
that is supposed like this podcast is off the rails. Sorry, folks. The hockey talk's done. Like
it's been done for a while.
This is something I think Ferda Ducks in our Discord was really hyping up. Olaf also. It's a very San Diego thing, but I saw one the other week, and I guess there's a couple around me. The sandwiches are delicious. The bread reminds me of like peak Togo's.
I saw you say that the other day. That
Togo's.
I don't
I
think that statement conveys what you think it conveys.
Togo's bread is legit good.
Togo's is just whatever. No
Their
one cares.
bread was.
I'm looking at these. This place just looks like a whatever sandwich place.
Yeah, Board and Brew was very good. I'm a very big fan of it. Got the turkey club.
Oh, of course you did.
Monica got the French dip.
Okay, that's a much better choice. I'm looking at the pictures right now.
It was delicious. Definitely worth a try for everyone out there.
Left Coast pastrami looks pretty good.
Sponsor us.
Baja beef. Wow. Marinated USDA prime beef. Grilled onions, jalapeno peppers, melted jack cheese.
Togo and please stop the Togo slander, Lou.
Togo's is just whatever.
It's dead.
It's so whatever.
Let me mourn in peace. Let me mourn Togo's.
It's still alive. There's a Togo's right across from my school.
Well, they're dead. It's all dead around here.
Also, Tustin is not North Orange County. By the way, I have an official way of knowing this North versus South thing, and I feel like this is actually a very, very legitimate way of doing so. If you go to the Orange County Register website, which we would all agree
that also has a central on,
which we would all agree
I saw
is
this
the preeminent source. It does not have a central, which we'd all agree is the preeminent source of news and of understanding of Orange County. Has a North OC and a South OC section, and oh god damn it, Tustin is in the North OC section. Well, never mind. But Newport Beach is in the South one, which is what we had debated.
But Tustin
earlier.
is in the North.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Never mind. Not the preeminent source. I'm gonna have to reach out to their editors and I don't know, give them my 2 cents on that. Also, Ike's has gone down in quality. Now I'm changing the subject.
I think I almost screenshotted this once, just to put that Tustin's in the North, and then I saw that South had Irvine. Irvine is partially South. Newport's partially South.
I think Newport's only South.
No.
Like if we agree that yes, I did get got. I'm acknowledging that.
The peninsula is north.
No, what are you saying?
The peninsula is north.
Okay. If
south is when there's mountains by the beach. That is the designation.
It's not.
When there's hills by the beach and there's cliff sides. That is the designation between South versus North.
This man needs to be stopped.
North OC, as someone who lives in South OC now, North OC is where the beaches, it's a flat landscape all around you. South is where it becomes cliffside. It's a very different geography around it.
Okay, well, you're wrong. That's fine. I also don't live in Orange County anymore, so I don't even care about this debate. I don't
You're the one who brought this up.
But I want to call back to an important comment in our chat. Winterborn saying Ike's Love and Sandwiches is also great, and Ike's
He's
used
also
to be
saying
great.
Newport Beach is not South County.
Ike's used to be awesome, but I feel like because they have so many branches now, so many locations now, I feel like the quality's gone down a little bit. But it can be very good. Newport Beach is South County. The Orange County Register, the preeminent source of all things Orange County, the most well-respected institution in Orange County, which is a low bar looking at local politics, but the most well-respected institution has them listed at South Orange County. That is irrefutable.
I am a South Orange County resident. I am the lawmaker in this now. I am the decision maker.
Look, I look at it as vibes.
I am a homeowner in South Orange County.
Oh wow, just flex on us even more. Love that. No, but I look at it as a vibe situation.
Oh, it is a vibe situation.
You can't purely logic your way through this. And to me, no one in their right minds would walk through Newport Beach and think, "Ha, I'm in North County." No one would ever think that. That would never enter their mind. If you're walking through Fullerton, Brea, whatever those cities, you're not thinking South County whatsoever. You're thinking, I am in this grid. It is muggy. It is polluted. That's
what Costa Mesa and Newport Beach.
No, Newport Beach. You have the literal sea breeze coming in to wash all that away.
What about Huntington Beach? What about Seal Beach?
Well, Huntington.
What about Seal Beach?
I don't want to trash on potential listeners or people. I will just say Huntington is not as good as Newport.
Just because there's a beach does not mean that it is South Orange County. The
vibes matter. No, I'm talking about Newport specifically. I'm not.
Newport has the same vibes as Huntington at
No,
times.
it does not. Are you shitting me?
It's the same.
This is how I know.
Similar.
This is how I know you've never lived in Newport, because Newport and Huntington are very distinct from each other.
All right.
Yes, there is some overlap. Agreed, but different.
Parts of Newport are south. Like Fashion Island.
Dude, but Fashion Island is like 10 minutes from the peninsula.
Yeah, the peninsula is north.
They're like on the same latitude.
No, the vibes are different between those two.
Oh, I don't know why I get so mad about this.
You get so mad at it.
But I do. Funny. It's infuriating.
This is Felix's trigger moment.
Yeah, I've actually been... I took the bait.
The best part is that you did this to yourself.
I know. Also, people that are listening that don't live in California, I'm sorry. Actually, not even California. Like, just don't live in South or don't live in Orange County. I'm sorry. But we do cater to our audience who is, primarily in Orange County. I'm being named Felix Tustin. I did used to live in Tustin, so by your logic that makes me the arbiter of where Tustin is located.
Is Orange North County?
Yes.
Tustin is the same as Orange.
To me,
in the vibes,
Tustin is different. It depends where you are in Tustin. Like
Tustin's north,
because the area where you just were, the El Pollo Loco disaster. That to me is like. That's where South County is starting.
That is kind of where the designation. I would argue that there's not much of Tustin south of that, though. Majority of Tustin
to me,
is
the
north.
area by the Tustin Marketplace is basically Irvine.
How are people still listening to this?
I mean, we don't actually know that they are. I guess we have people. We have people in the stream.
Our numbers are very similar right now to where they were 10, 15 minutes ago.
My middle name has also been designated as Aquatic Sting. Yeah, my one and only aquatic sting incident has been in South Orange County, Newport Beach. So, yeah, it hurt.
There it goes. That stingray that's in our YouTube chat is from North County.
I sometimes wonder if that stingray that stung me is still out there, wandering. Like, what's their lifespan? What is a stingray's lifespan? What? I have to know this now. Stingray lifespan.
Oh, this podcast.
Wait, actually, guess how long a stingray's lifespan is.
Let's go 20 years.
20?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go 10. Average lifespan is between 5 and 10 years. Okay.
Damn it.
That's a long time for those things to just be roaming and stabbing.
Yes, Winterborn. Felix does hope that it died.
I don't hope that it died. I hope no one else has been stung.
I thought you were about to say you hope it feels pain.
No, I mean,
okay.
It's just a wild animal protecting itself.
Ryro is telling us that he loves these random ramblings. Glad we can bring that to you.
I don't begrudge an animal for protecting itself in its environment. I was the intruder. I am not a water creature. It was I was on its home court.
Do you wish that you were a water creature though?
Honestly, okay. Do fish sleep? I've always wondered this.
Rhetorical. No, fish do not sleep.
I actually have this app on my phone where it's like a project where they put trackers on sharks and you can track like their range.
Yeah.
It is insane how much ground, or I guess how much water they cover.
Yeah.
Like it's actually insane.
Ground still works because there is ground underneath the water.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's amazing how much ground they cover.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, sharks are not as dangerous as everyone kind of thinks they're out to be.
Well, just don't poke the bear.
Well, don't poke the bear. It's be cautious of various different situations. But we're starting to find out that a lot of the waters around here have more sharks in them that you think than you know about, and it really is a situation where they just have a bad rap. They're not going to hurt you most of the time.
Yeah, I had a friend in Newport who would go into the water with those like shark repeller things that you put on your ankle. That's like this. I think this is like fake science. I don't think it actually works. It's supposed to be like some magnet or something that lets off a frequency that repels them. But
Ray Gonzalez does not want this podcast to end because he just put in our YouTube chat a question that is going to set you off.
Okay.
For a good 10 minutes, probably.
Oh, no.
Why do NHL fans get upset about OT games being decided by a shootout and the World Cup was just decided just like that?
Okay.
So this is a little bit different. At first, I read this as why are NHL fans being upset that game was decided by a shootout? Because you and I both saw plenty of that on Twitter on Sunday was that people were upset that that game was decided by a shootout.
Here's my question. So Haley Wickenheiser is a former Olympian, great Team Canada player, legend of the sport, blah, blah, blah. You can go on about her accolades. And was it the last Olympics, or it was a few Olympics ago, I don't remember, where Team Canada lost in a shootout? This was like a big game. I'm forgetting which game it was. But they lost in a shootout to Team USA, and Team USA, wins, blah, blah. Team Canada is despondent. I don't even know if Wickenheiser's on that team. But the point is, she put out a tweet during the World Cup final saying, these important games shouldn't be decided by a shootout. Well, what if Team Canada had won in a shootout, a medal or something like that? Like,
technically they did win a silver.
Right, like, does that invalidate the result? Because it was, and I don't think that's what she was trying to say, but like, why is it so wrong for a game to be decided by this specific way? Like, do we really want players to be playing until they can't walk anymore? Until they're broken down physically? Where it just becomes a matter of luck and who's last man standing, who's last man that can move? It's just...
Also,
the game has to end. The game has to end eventually. Like this whole thing is a fiction, right? Sports are a fiction. Just because it's the shootout is slightly different from 5-on-5, it's all a game anyway, right? So like, stop pretending that it's this sin.
I also think from the perspective of
2018, I think is the one I'm thinking about. Yes.
Yeah, that is the one you're thinking about.
Yeah.
I also think from the perspective of, the game quality devolves so heavily as the overtime keep going on and on and on. And we see it so many times in the NHL. It's kind of once you get past one overtime,
yeah,
the overtimes keep going.
The goals are always some like crappy bounce, right?
Well, because the guys don't have the wherewithal at that point in time to put together a play to be able to score a goal. Like they're struggling at that point in time because of the wear and tear on their body. And so I don't know. I think it's just it's the same thing as NHL fans not wanting ties. It's the same concept. And so, I think at a certain point, like, this is the game, like, this isn't what the question was asking, but I think soccer has always had penalty shootouts. This is always has the game.
It's within the fabric and the history of the game.
And so people may not think it's fair, but it's a 50, like, it's not a coin flip. Like, the goalies have a chance to be able to make a play. The shooters are shooting on the goal. Like, and the thing is, you could at least make the argument, and from a hockey perspective, is penalty shots don't happen that often in games.
I just think that hockey fans want to apply their rules and their beliefs to this other sport.
Yes, but I think if you're trying to say why are these two things so different, I think with hockey, penalty shots don't happen very often within the course of a game.
Mm-hmm.
Within a course of a soccer game, penalties happen not super frequently, but way more frequently than a penalty shot happens.
Yeah.
And so it's something that is within the fabric of the game. And if that World Cup was decided by, let's just say, Mbappe's penalty, by Messi's penalty, would anyone say that was unfair?
Yeah.
And
I just don't think the actual soccer fans are having this debate.
No one cares. It was an amazing game, one of the best World Cup finals that you'll ever see. Messi won the World Cup. France made it to back-to-back World Cups, which is insane, and almost won their second. Mbappe almost put his stake in the claim at being the next person behind Messi to really take the best player in the world moniker.
I do love this idea of taking breaks. Take an hour lunch break, 2-hour lunch break between overtimes, playoff hockey. Just do like cricket and just adjourn until the next day. Once you hit a certain point, just, all right, we're going to come back tomorrow. We should all take our example from this great sport of cricket.
Yep. And Dostal says this, there were 3 penalty shot goals in regulation in that final. Like, I don't know, like people should, that wasn't regulation. That was within added time.
Like,
also.
I'm not against like these, classic long overtime games. Like there is a great entertainment to them.
There's a drama to it.
Yeah, like it is cool to watch, and it is remarkable when one team comes out on top.
And that's part of
hockey's,
that's part of hockey's history.
Yeah, like I wouldn't want a Stanley Cup final decided by a shootout, right? Like, but that's because it's a different sport, different everything. Like
different rule sets, different history, and at a certain point, you do have to respect that type of history that's there.
Like a Stanley Cup final has never been decided by a shootout, ever. Whereas in soccer, like there's precedent for this. So, okay. I think we've reached the end.
Yep.
Unless we haven't.
I thought we were about to like button up this podcast, be done at like an hour,
like half an hour ago,
and we're almost at an hour and a half.
Well, people asked and we delivered.
Yep.
/ we kind of just found tangents to go on. Okay.
We.
Yeah, we. I said it.
Okay.
So, on that note, thanks everybody for listening. This has been an awesome show. Really fun to talk about wins and great individual performances. If you want to help support us and keep this thing going, there's a few really easy ways for you to do that. The number one way is to check out our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/crashthepond. And for $1 a month, you can get access to our patrons-only Discord server. This is where you're going to get to connect with other diehard Ducks fans and really improve and enhance your Ducks experience online. I think that if you're someone particularly maybe who lives in another state or somewhere where there's just not a lot of other Ducks fans, this is a great way to meet and connect with other people, and including us. We're in there all the time. For $5 a month, you get access to that Discord server, and you also get access to 2 bonus podcasts a month. So, for example, the one we just did this weekend, we did the Ducks' top 10 prospects currently. So that was a lot of fun. And this month in December, we're actually doing 3. So this is a good time to sign on. You get more bang for your buck. That's all at patreon.com/crashthepond. Also, find us on Apple Podcasts. Just search Crash the Pond, leave a rating and a review. Those go a very long way, and they help keep the show growing. It's also completely zero cost to you outside of just maybe a couple minutes. Check us out on Spotify. You can leave us a rating there. I don't think you can leave reviews yet on Spotify. But you can
just ratings.
You can leave ratings, so make sure to do that. Again, zero cost outside of just a couple seconds, really. Check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/crashthepond. You can see the video format of this show. You can see us and our beautiful backgrounds and our visual effects.
I just noticed on Spotify, we are getting close kind of to 100. We're at 84. If you guys all want to help us hit 100, that'd be great.
Yeah, help us get there. So check us out on YouTube as well. Subscribe to us there, importantly. And outside of that, check out our website, crashthepond.com. We've got a shop. So if you're in a bind here for a gift idea, we do have a shop page on there. You can order mugs, t-shirts, all kinds of cool apparel to support the show and to give a gift to a Ducks fan in your life. Also, check out the Sporting Tribune.
Yes.
We've been writing articles there, sportingtribune.com, and we're trying to really give Ducks fans as much written content as we can because we do feel like this is an area of improvement in the media landscape, and we think that we can do a good job of it. And also there's plenty of coverage on there for other SoCal teams on top of that. I mean,
if you're a Lakers fan, a Clippers fan, if you are a Dodgers fan, an Angels fan, whatever other teams, I think there was great World Cup coverage that you could find on there. Yeah. Go check it out. Go check out the Sporting Tribune. Really
it's
great
free.
Work.
No paywall.
It's free, no paywall. Great writers all going on over there. They actually have some podcasts. Also, I know Arash Markazi has his own podcast if you go and check it out. Really great work. And also, actually, should plug this. Arash, if you go on the Sporting Tribune, he has a newsletter that you can subscribe to where in your email every day, you will get a couple of articles linked to that might be of note to you, including you'll find our articles in there when they go up and the podcasts and everything like that. So please subscribe to that newsletter.
Yeah, absolutely. So go check that out. And if you want to just keep track of all of this, the easiest way to do it, honestly, is to find us on Twitter. Follow us there. Jake is at ReindeerGames91. I'm at Felix_Sicard. That is going to do it for the podcast. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And we will talk to you in a week, most likely.
Bye.